So, okay, in French we have a saying that more or less says that doing and doing again is still working. So if I apply to what's happened to me in the last few days, I would say that knitting and frogging and knitting again and frogging again is still knitting. So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my very small YouTube channel about knitting. My name is Isabelle, I am in France, and if you are interested in my knitting adventures, these were real knitting adventures this week, and if my accent and my hesitations do not bother you too much, please stay tuned. So first, what am I wearing on this very gloomy day? And it's quite late today. We are at the end of the weekends. I'm pre-filming because I know my weeks are going to be very, very jam-packed with student exams and gradings and other personal things. So I'm filming on the weekends, even though the video will still be up on Friday as usual. So today it's late. It was a bit sunny this morning, but very, very cold, around freezing temperatures. So I'm wearing my Agnes jumper by Camilla Vlad that I knit with this beautiful mohair from Poitou that I brought 2 years ago. So I knit it about a year ago between December 2022 and January 2023. So it's perfectly appropriate for the weather. I was wearing it last Friday when I went to work because at some point we had some kind of contractors that broke a gas pipe for the heater in our university, and we were for a couple days without heat. So it was perfectly appropriate, and if you're not going to be doing, okay. So yes, my Agnes jumper for this cold weather. Okay, first a little disclaimer. A disclaimer about all the Vlogmas I see in my current subscription in YouTube. I see that everywhere. Every other video is about a Vlogmas, whether it's about knitting, people who post videos about knitting or some other topics that I'm interested in. And I don't like much Vlogmas for several reasons. First reason, it's so very far away from the Advent season I was used to when I was a child. Of course, I went to a very religious, very Catholic school and everything, so it had a deep religious meaning. I'm not at all religious any longer. If anything, I'm more on the humanitarian and yoga meditation type of thing. My kids are not baptized. They did not have a religious education. But the Advent has a special meaning. And seeing people opening bags and bags and bags of things they have bought before, whether they are skeins of yarn or something else, just makes me very, very uncomfortable. And if you've seen my previous video about my yarn by year, you know I went overboard buying yarn. And part of that is because people show all what they get, and also it's very tempting. We are influenced by these videos and these news that from people we follow. And of course I went overboard. I was within the boundaries of my own rules because I was in person when I bought that yarn, and I think it's exceptional yarn at an exceptional price, very low price compared to what you can find everywhere else, but that's not the point. I don't want to contribute to this consumerism that is Advent. Whatever it is wherever it is about yarn or candles or whatever else that you open every day. I think this content is very poor. It doesn't bring me anything. Maybe I'm, not bringing you much either. but at least I don't want to contribute to what has become some kind of a commercial event. All the religious meaning has disappeared, and it's just showing off what you have bought. And I'm not in line with that, and this is what I'm not filming Vlogmas. Okay, first, my work in progress that has not been of a problem, and that has been set aside for a bit because I was going through some of the kind of problems and decisions. So this is my Dusking by Kayomi Bergin. I knit it with also the same mohair from the lady from Poitou, where I go get it. So this is a heavier weight. This is less lace weight. And if you recall, Dusking, you start with 4 strands and you get down to 1 strand for both the body and the sleeves. And if you can see, at the bottom here of the sweater, knitting with 1 strand makes a very sheer fabric. I love it. I love the way it looks. It's going to be very dressy. So as you can see, I'm on my first sleeve. I think last time, I guess I had separated for the sleeves, but I was not very far on the body, or maybe I was on the body already. I have finished the body. My one modification I made, as you can see here, is that I made a 1x1 ribbing at the bottom of the stockinette sweater, at the bottom of the stockinette. The pattern doesn't call for any ribbing here, just for binding off the stockinette. So there is a bind off, I guess they say stretchy bind off or something. I started to bind off the sweater, and of course, I'm not sure what happens, and of course the stockinette was curling up and flaring out. I bound off maybe 50 stitches, something like that, and I was really not happy with that. So I ripped out and made a few rows of 1x1 ribbing, the same ribs that you have at the top, and I added 1 strand of yarn. So this is the bottom of the sweater. You have only 1 strand of yarn at the very tip of the body, and here for the ribbing I added 1 strand. So these are 2 strands that I used for the ribbing and binding off. I think it looks better because at least that way the stockinette is not curling up any longer, and I like it much better. I'm not sure how they achieved that for the sample, the original sample. Maybe blocking out was what allows the sweater to be going just straight without curling up. As I said, the stretching bind off, I would guess if it's just a regular bind off, I would not make it stretchy for the sweater not to curl up. I would maybe make it a bit tighter. This is what I tried, and even though with a tighter bind off, it was still curling up. So this is my one modification, and I'm on the first sleeve. I have not been very far on the first sleeve. Had I not have, I guess, if I had not so many problems with my other project, maybe the skin would be finished, maybe. But at least for now, it's just cruising along on the sleeves, just going down with the same pattern, going from 4 strands to 3, and then 2, and then 1 strand of mohair. I got enough to finish the sweater, and I will have more than enough because Amandine from the farmer from the Poitou, she said she had 3 balls left and she found the 4th one. So I got 4 additional balls so that I can, I'm sure I can finish the sweater and have enough for something else. So this one is a happy knitting that I have not been able to knit a lot on since last time. because you will just know that after, not the commercial break, of course, but just next. Okay, next, I'm not gonna show you the bottom for now. My Sorrel, this is the sweater that gave me much misery, I have to say. Lots of problems and issues, and I have pictures. I will place the pictures so that you can see how it was before I ripped out once, then started over, and ripped out twice and started over. The first issue was that I really did not like the transition between the leaf green, so the mohair here after I ripped out, I just pulled it on another skein of yarn. I did not like the transition between the leaf green, the way it looks with, so this is wagtail mohair that Rosemary gave me last year, and this is a cone of Romney fingering weight that I got at Atelier Pure Laine. And I did not like the way the transition was between this kind of acid green with the darker green. Okay, silly me, I had it right next to me in my Atelier Pure Laine bag, couple bags I had. So if you recall, my plan was to go from the leaf green wagtail mohair and transition to the Bichebuche dark blue turquoise mohair that another one of you gave me last year too. And planning for that, I had casted on with Bichebuche Le Petit Lambswool that I have already used in another project, my Borrowhood. Casted on with Le Petit Lambswool and in dark green and or dark blue turquoise, and my plan was to fade from this acid leaf green to the dark turquoise. How did I believe that I had enough here to do the whole sweater? It was not enough. But I had said if I do not have enough, I will mix it with, here I have some leftover from La Bien-Aimé's, my previous Sorrel, La Bien-Aimé's Winterfell in mohair that I had all through the previous Sorrel. So I said, okay, these are not that far away one from each other in terms of colors. This blue one, it's more blue than the dark blue turquoise. This blue one is even, if anything, it's a bit deeper. So I will go from the dark blue turquoise to the end of the sweater. If I need a few rows, I will use Winterfell. And my plan was to finish and cast off the bottom of the sleeves and the bottom of the sweater the same way I casted on here. Where did I believe that first I had enough? Of course, I had not enough. So I moved into Winterfell. Good. And I knit more than halfway down the body after I separated for the sleeves. You may have seen pictures, and I'm not sure I did show last time if I had separated for the sleeves. Maybe I had. And as I was knitting, I was thinking, I don't like the transition between the acid green, or let's say the light mohair, and the dark mohair. Because, and I will place pictures, first the transition, I also did not calculate well enough, or I did not calculate at all. And I had not enough yarn, not enough mohair to go through the whole transition process from the Sorrel. But that's okay. I could make it shorter. I made it work. That was okay. But during the transition process, you could see the strand of dark blue at some point when you were introducing the other color. You could see it and it would make stripes. And stripes that I did not like the way it looked, because for the light color, you don't see the strand of mohair. So at some point you start to see dark stripes with the mohair. I did not like it. You will see pictures, maybe you would say that it would be fine with you. It was not fine with me. But anyway, I went out of the dark blue turquoise and I moved into... You're not going out, it's all dark outside. I'm going to close the window just after I film that segment. So I moved into Winterfell. And if anything, to me, Winterfell was a bit darker, than the dark blue turquoise. But what happened is, I think it's just because the dark blue turquoise, the Bichette is more hairy, more fluffy than La Bien-Aimée. So the part where I had the dark blue turquoise by itself was darker than the part where I introduced Winterfell. So I had these lines as transition between leaf green and the dark blue turquoise that I did not like. Then a stripe of dark blue turquoise that was in the end darker than the one I moved to with Winterfell. Because Winterfell, maybe being less hairy, less fluffy, more of the cream Romney yarn was showing up, and it was giving the overall feeling of a lighter fabric. So I would go from acid green to darker green, then or darker blue, then lighter blue, with that stripe right in the middle. And that was, I continued to knit, to say, okay, it's going to be okay. So this is not something that you can say it's going to be blocking out, of course not. And I was saying, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. But as I was knitting, I knew it was not going to be okay. I knew it. So I'm going to have to close that because Ramses is placing his nose and his paws into my yarn. So as I was knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting, I was thinking I like it less and less and less and less. So what I did, I ripped out to go directly from the leaf green to Winterfell, thinking, okay, leaf green, I won't have that darker stripe in the middle, and we are all going to be moving all along to Winterfell. Same thing. I'm not sure I took pictures about that. Same thing. You could see the strands of the dark Winterfell very clearly when you were going through the transition process between one mohair to the other. And I did not like it either. So I had ripped up to the separation for the sleeves so that I would have a few rows with just a few rows with the dark blue turquoise and go directly into finishing the fade with Winterfell. Do all the short rows, do all the thing, knit again the body for maybe 10 centimeters, 4 inches, and I was thinking, no. So I ripped it out completely. I removed all the dark mohair, all of it. And I went back to my first original idea, that was to use the leaf green and use the light cyan. I had not done it because I did not want it looks too much like Microsoft XP background. So of course I was not going to do the blue on top and the green on the bottom. So I'm going to be doing the green on top and the blue on the bottom. So that's a bit less than like XP. And you can see here that the transition is much smoother. I also have pictures because there is not much light. It's a bit difficult maybe to see. I stopped this motif, so you stop one out of two motifs, every other motif. I stopped it with the blue, and I'm transitioning since that part for a few rows already, and I like it much better. If anything, the blue is lighter than the green, and you almost do not see, and I guess you will see more of the blue as I'm fading through the blue, and then you will see, then once the blue is all together, if anything, it's going to be a bit lighter than the green. And if I don't have enough blue, which may happen, I will finish with the white. So all of these are wagtail mohair that Rosemary offered me last year. And I like, maybe, can I do that? Are you going to be focusing if I hide my eyes? Yes. So you see, it's very subtle. You almost do not see it. And as there is a green filling at the top, I think it will transition very smoothly into a lighter blue filling. So there is another, I have another bowl of much darker cyan. And I was thinking that if I use this much darker cyan, it will happen, same thing will happen as with the dark blue turquoise or Winterfell. I will see the strands and I won't like it. So I like it much better. I'm back to square one, or not, I've not finished the yoke. I've not, I've all removed the separation for the sleeves, of course, and I've not done the short, I've removed all the short rows. So I'm going to just stop here, close the window so that it stops scratching the window, and I will be back telling you the rest of the story because it's not all finished. Okay, so everything is closed, all the shutters are shut down, so I really hope he'll stop scratching the window. And if he doesn't, well, such is life. So I took the opportunity to bring out the dark blue turquoise. Not dark blue turquoise, the dark cyan. You see the difference in the color here. And I think that if I was going with the dark cyan, or maybe this one is cyan and this one is light cyan. But anyway, I thought that if I was going with this deeper color, I would run in the same problem to me, seeing the strand of mohair when I'm transitioning. So I keep the light cyan or this cyan one, and I may use the white to finish out. And I think I will still bind off with the dark green yarn and mohair at the bottom of the sweater. Please tell me if you would think that finishing with the light cyan, where are you in my hand? If finishing with the light cyan, it would be not nice, or if I can bind off with the dark green. I guess I can, because there is quite some green in cyan, the cyan color. So I'll see once I'm there, and I will try, and I will make a few trials. But please tell me if you think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. Okay, so as you see, I've ripped out every Romney that had been in contact with dark fluffy mohair. And if you anticipate about what I'm going to be saying, is that I'm going to place pictures as I was unraveling, and I can tell you, unraveling sticky yarn with mohair, I lost a bit of the dark blue cyan mohair, not much, but at some point it got all tangled up, and I like to untangle yarn. I'm that kind of person, and I know how to untangle yarn. And I have to say, for my whole life, maybe there are a couple occasions where I could not untangle, and this was one of them. So I ripped out. I did not lose any of the Romney. I used a bit, maybe less than 3 feet or a yard or whatever your measurement is for 1 meter about. But anyway, it was too tightly entangled, and I could not get it completely, so I just got it. And I will place the pictures now, that what happened when I was unraveling, and where I was on one hand balling up again the mohair. As I was unraveling and I was taking up the Romney around the cone, I realized, and I will place the pictures, that there was enough dark fluff around the Romney to make it darker than the regular part of the yarn. So you will see pictures, and I was thinking, oh, oh no, I will have that whole quantity of yarn, whatever that will end up being, that I can't use in the sweater, because if I transition into a darker thing, that's what I was trying to avoid. And if when I move out of this darker part comes light, no. So I caked it up. So this is a little bit over 50 grams of Romney yarn. If I place it next, you can most probably see the difference in color. Where are you? That way. You most probably can see that the caked up Romney is a bit darker, and in the pictures I guess you will see more. So this is about, I weighed it out, this is about 50 grams. So you see it better here. So I caked up an additional 50 grams of the Romney to make something else. So I have 2 balls of 50 grams of Romney, of fingering Romney, and that should be enough, way enough, to make strays from La Bien-Aimée Neons and Neutrals. So strays is a beanie where I don't think I'm giving away anything. These are not instructions. It's all the yarn requirements and things like that. Where you knit with 2 strands of fingering weight all throughout, and there is a strand of mohair at the brim part with a special stitch motif and everything. So what I am going to be doing is knitting with these 2 strands of Romney, one being darker than the other, but it's going to be all throughout the hat, so it won't show. And I will decide which mohair I use at the bottom. Do I use the white? Do I use the variegated cyan that if I finish my powder puff coal, if I finish it, I can use it there? Do I use the dark green, dark blue turquoise, or Winterfell, or both? Do I use the cyan, that would be neon, and the Romney, that would be neutral? I'm not quite sure, but I have traveling ahead. This is why I'm trying to pre-film a bit. So I'm not quite sure what I will be doing, but I will use these 2 skeins of Romney with a mohair, whichever one it is. Maybe I will have to make a swatch to see what it's going to be doing, if I like it. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be making, the beanie with the Romney. I was thinking at first I'm going to be using the dark blue turquoise to go on top of that part here. But anyway, after I've seen what it does without transitioning, because in the beanie you stop with the mohair at some point, period. So if there is no transition, the strand of dark blue turquoise or dark mohair will be all throughout, so it's going to be uniform. Maybe I want it or maybe not. So I'll see what I'll do, but I think that for my next travel, I will bring that one project. Yeah, I did not say, but I most probably will have it on the screen before when I showed the stripe pattern for the first time. The pattern is by Marie Régnier. Okay, so that's all. That was quite not maybe not very much, but I did a lot of knitting time on my Sorrel, on knitting and unraveling and knitting again and unraveling, and kind of getting into it and saying, okay, no, it's going to be okay, let's separate for the sleeve, let's knit the body and go down and at the end it did not work. So I did spend a lot of time knitting and all of that to be back to not even finishing the yoke. Anyway, so that was for my knitting adventures. Life updates. There is not much to say. It's cold, very cold. Once you see the video, I will have had my appointment with my surgeon. So I will know what's going to be happening. I will tell you in a future video. It's kind of bugging me a bit. I'm anticipating, and I'm, of course, anticipating for the worst. So it sometimes keeps me awake at night, but that's okay. My mother realized she had a very short episode of vertigo. I jumped on that episode to tell her once again that it was dangerous for her to continue driving. She's 86 and she has hearing helping devices that she doesn't wear. Okay, I don't have to explain all of that, you already know. But that with the vertigo, she was at home. So I told her, what would have happened if you had been driving your car? And second, she talked to one of her friends, and this friend uses what we call a community taxi service of some sort. These are retired people, but young retired people who drive their own car, and the city where she lives hires them, and the person who uses the service pay a little fee and hires them to drive old people around. And this is part of a project to keep people at home and not in facility, not in the hospital, so to keep them at home. So they help with the driving, they help with grocery shopping and other things, taking them to their medical appointments and everything. So she never really clicked on the idea. I've been talking about that to her for a year and a half now, since my father passed away. And she clicked on it at that time because that friend is using the service and is very happy with it. And also because maybe she talked with her of her vertigos, and it all opened up. So when she talked about that to me, it was like if tomorrow morning she's selling her car and she's not driving any longer. So I said, okay, no, that's not the way it goes. We have to, make an application. There are files, there is a medical advice to use the service and everything. So there are people next to her who take care of her, who are helping with all the process. And most probably in January, she'll be able to use it, or maybe end of January. So that was a good thing. The vertigo, she used to have vertigos a lot when I was a kid. And after I was a teenager, it all stopped. And she never had vertigos again. And it's coming back. So it was only once. So is it coming back? I do not know. Did she have enough to eat? I do not know. So I asked for one of the nurses who come every week to make a prescription box with all the pills she has to take and everything, to check a fridge, which she did. And my mother was very unhappy with that. It was kind of a violation of her intimacy, I guess, and also sometimes maybe someone could see that there was not enough food or expired food in her fridge. Anyway, this person is going to weigh in the application to say also she needs some grocery shopping help, not just driving around, but doing the grocery shopping with her and planning several meals and everything. And if there is another service after that that we can use, that is that the city prepares meals for the elderly. So they also have to pay, and it's depending on their income and everything. And they distribute the meals every day for the noontime and the evening, so that at least they don't have to go grocery shopping and cook. Because right now, I know since last summer, she buys pre-made meals that it's not good. It's full of things that are not very good. So that will also go to another level. I think we are crossing some kind of bridges for the car, for the help with the shopping, and I've started to talk about having her meals delivered every day. So she's not quite ready for that, but one thing at a time, one step at a time, and I think this is all going in the right direction for now, to keep her at home, but we are with more assistance than what she currently has. So I will go get her. So after all my driving for work and other things, I will go get her for the holiday season, Christmas or whatever, if you do not celebrate the end of the year season. So she will spend a week at home. My 3 children and my eldest girlfriend will be home too. So my youngest boy's girlfriend is not going to be with us because she will be in her family. And as my eldest son's girlfriend, her family is in the area, they can split and decide, for one part of the holiday they are with me and one part of the holiday they are with them. So they decided how they were going to be splitting things. I'm just following. I invited them and I said, you tell me what you want to do and this will be done. And my son from Toulouse, Theo, who is gonna defend his PhD in 2 weeks from now. So I'm going there for that occasion. So this is also why my work load is heavy, because for the 3 days there is a 1 full day traveling to Toulouse from Normandy. So I'm leaving 1 day before and I'm coming back 1 day after, and the day in the middle where he defends his PhD. So all my teaching and everything else is packed before and after that for you. And so my work schedule is a bit heavy right now. But that's for the nice part of it. And then once he defends his PhD, he will stay for about a week in Toulouse, and he will come back for the holiday season. So I will be home the whole time. My youngest son, so maybe Theo will go back for December 31st in Toulouse to have a party with his friends. He's not quite sure yet. My youngest son will be home for maybe 5 or 6 days. And my eldest will be working, but he lives 5 minutes away. So I will have everyone at home for Christmas time and December 31st. Maybe not everyone, but at least part of them. So, and my mother will be here for the whole time. So I'm looking forward to that, even though this is stressing her out already. So I said, don't stress. We are not going in the middle of the desert. If you ever forget something, I live close by a big city. We can go see my doctor as an emergency if you have forgotten your prescription. But I will make sure she has. We can go buy clothes if you don't have enough. We could go buy about anything. So don't stress out. Just relax, and it's going to be nice. But a nice time. But she's kind of stressing out because it's changing her habits, and changing habits when you are elderly it's a bit of a difficult thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you don't mind too much that I'm not doing Vlogmas. Please tell me down below if you are watching Vlogmas, if you enjoy. If it's not empty content, not too repetitive of a content that is every day kind of the same thing. And yes, I thank you very much for being here with me. And I'm sending you all my unraveled and knit again and unraveled and knit again and unraveled and knit again little stitches, because I really had to work on placing joy and happiness into that particular project that was giving me some difficulties. So I do hope you can place joy and happiness into your craft, into your knitting. And yes, I will see you next time.